around the house. During that search, investigators failed to locate any evidence of Erica Parsons still living here, or any evidence that her room or personal living area remained in the home to report Erica Lynn Parsons as missing in a timely manner.
Think about being just 13 years old, forced to eat dog food while your family dined at the table, beaten for the smallest mistakes, and locked away from the world as if you didn't exist. That was the hidden reality of Erica Lynn Parsons, a child whose home became a place of torment instead of safety. For years, her adoptive parents covered their cruelty with lies, insisting she was living happily elsewhere. But when her skeletal remains were finally discovered in a shallow grave in 2016, the horrifying truth was exposed. This wasn't just a case of neglect, it was a story of betrayal, abuse, and a system that failed her at every turn. Early life and adoption. Erica Lynn Parsons was born on February 24, 1998, in Concord, North Carolina, to Carolyn Parsons and Billy Dean Goodman. From infancy, Erica faced challenges, including hearing difficulties and developmental delays. Despite these struggles, those who knew her early on described her as a bright-eyed child with a sweet smile and a desire for love and belonging. Her biological mother, Carolyn, struggled with personal difficulties and felt she could not provide Erica with the care she needed. In 2000, she entrusted her daughter to relatives Sandy and Casey Parsons, believing that adoption would give Erica a more stable future. Sandy was Erica's uncle, and Casey was his wife, making the adoption a family matter. On paper, this looked like a compassionate choice, a child staying within her extended family. But soon after the adoption, the cracks began to show. Erica was withdrawn from public school and placed in homeschooling, which later turned out to be largely a facade. Without the oversight of teachers or professionals, Erica's life became invisible to the outside world. This isolation created the perfect environment for abuse to go unnoticed, setting the stage for years of hidden torment. Life with Sandy and Casey Parsons. Behind closed doors, Erica's adoptive parents began subjecting her to unimaginable abuse. According to later court testimony, Erica was beaten, starved, and verbally humiliated regularly. Her adoptive mother, Casey, reportedly called her ugly and stupid, while Sandy would physically assault her for minor mistakes. Other children in the home later testified that Erica was treated as an outcast, singled out for cruelty that none of the other kids endured. Meals were often withheld as punishment. Erica was forced to eat dog food or sit and watch the rest of the family enjoy dinner while she went hungry. Her growth was stunted, and by the time of her death at just 13, Erica weighed only 80 pounds. It was later revealed that she was locked in a closet for hours at a time, beaten with a belt or hose, and denied basic hygiene. Neighbors and acquaintances rarely saw Erica. Whenever anyone asked, Sandy and Casey would give excuses that she was shy, that she was homeschooled, or that she was visiting relatives. Slowly, Erica disappeared, not only from her community, but from the memory of those who might have been able to intervene. Disappearance and lies. In November 2011, Erica Parsons vanished, but no missing person report was filed by Sandy or Casey. Instead, they claimed they had sent her to live with her biological grandmother, a woman they called Nan or Irene Goodman, in Asheville, North Carolina. This story would later unravel as a complete fabrication. For nearly 2 years, no one outside the home raised questions about Erica's absence. It wasn't until July 2013, when her adoptive brother James Parsons went to authorities, that the case surfaced. James told police about the years of abuse Erica suffered and admitted he hadn't seen his sister in over a year. His testimony cracked open the facade his parents had built. When questioned, Sandy and Casey repeated the story about Nan, insisting Erica was safe and well. But investigators quickly discovered that the mysterious grandmother didn't exist. With no trace of Erica at schools, hospitals, or relatives' homes, suspicions grew that something far darker had happened. The investigation law enforcement launched a full investigation in 2013, scouring the Parsons home for evidence. They found shocking conditions, filth, neglect, and indications of abusive discipline methods. Yet there was no sign of Erica. Authorities charged Sandy and Casey with fraud in 2014, after uncovering that they continued to collect adoption assistance payments from the state long after Erica had disappeared. Neighbors and extended family began to share their suspicions. Some recalled never seeing Erica outside, while others mentioned strange behavior from Casey, who became defensive whenever Erica's name was brought up. The lack of physical evidence made the case challenging, but the mounting witness statements painted a consistent picture of long-term abuse. The fraud trial exposed the Parsons lies to the public. In 2015, both Sandy and Casey were sentenced to federal prison for fraud and theft. Yet the biggest question remained unanswered. Where was Erica? The discovery of Erica's remains. The case took a chilling turn in September 2016, when Sandy Parsons, facing pressure and possible sentence reductions, led investigators to a rural area in Chesterfield County, South Carolina. There, in a shallow grave near his mother's property, they found the skeletal remains of Erica Parsons. The location was remote, hidden by trees and brush, chosen carefully to conceal the body for years. Forensic analysis showed signs of severe malnutrition and broken bones consistent with long-term abuse. At just 13 years old, Erica's body reflected the years of torment she had endured, her growth stunted, her frame weakened. The discovery confirmed what investigators had long feared. Erica had not simply vanished. She had been murdered and discarded by the very people entrusted to protect her. The Parsons' years of lies had been nothing more than a cover-up of their monstrous crimes. Trial and sentencing. In 2018, Sandy and Casey Parsons were formally charged with first-degree murder, child abuse, and concealment of death. The courtroom became a theater of horrors as details of Erica's suffering were laid bare. Testimonies from siblings revealed how she was isolated, mocked, and beaten. Medical experts testified about the malnutrition that left her body frail and vulnerable. The defense tried to argue for lesser charges, but the overwhelming evidence of systematic abuse left little room for doubt. Casey Parsons was portrayed as the primary abuser, while Sandy was complicit, carrying out acts of violence and helping hide Erica's body. The prosecution emphasized the betrayal of parental duty and the fact that Erica had been killed not by strangers, but by her supposed caregivers. In 2019, both Sandy and Casey were sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. The verdict brought some sense of justice, but for many it felt like too little, too late. Erica's short life had been full of suffering, and no sentence could undo that pain. Erica's legacy. Though Erica Parsons' life was short and filled with suffering, her story has had a lasting impact. Lawmakers and advocates have used her case to push for changes in child welfare policies. Discussions about stricter oversight for homeschooling families gain traction, particularly for children adopted out of troubled circumstances. Nonprofits and child protection agencies now cite Erica's name when campaigning for reforms. Her story has been featured in documentaries, news specials, and true crime programs, ensuring her suffering is not forgotten. The haunting details of her case continue to serve as a warning of what happens when systems fail and when abuse goes unchecked. For her biological mother, Carolyn Parsons, Erica's death has been a lifelong wound. She has since spoken publicly about her regret and her desire that Erica be remembered not for how she died, but for who she was, a girl who deserved love, care, and safety. The tragic murder of Erica Parsons is more than a true crime story. It is a reminder of the dangers children face when they are isolated and silenced. Erica's abuse was hidden for years behind the walls of her adoptive home, and her disappearance was concealed by lies. In the end, it was not only her parents who failed her, but also the systems meant to protect vulnerable children. Justice has been served in the courts, with Sandy and Casey Parsons condemned to life behind bars. Yet Erica's story continues to resonate because it reveals how easily abuse can go unnoticed, and how urgently reforms are needed to prevent future tragedies. Erica deserved more than what life gave her. In telling her story, we not only honor her memory, but also commit to ensuring that no child endures the same fate. If Erica's story touched you, help keep her memory alive by raising awareness. Share this documentary, subscribe for more true crime investigations, and stand with us in demanding justice for victims who can no longer speak for themselves.